to those more utility, more supportive, or tank-style junglers could be a boon for KC if HLE set them up to pick it.
I think especially if you have a pick, you know, we've seen things like the Sejuani or the Maokai that has really easy gank setup. If you put Canna on a carry and you look really to target top lane, like even, you know, a pick like a Rumble really benefits from having that great setup. So I think Zeus is a play we've seen historically maybe be somewhat disrespectful towards ganks, especially considering HLE later in this tournament, I felt like sometimes they are disrespectful to their opponents.
Sure. I think the bans that we had last game were perfect. You have the two best Yone players in Korea on HLE. You have arguably the best Jace player. You know, even though Canna has found a ton of success with Jace, you don't necessarily want to first pick it here as KC. And then the Nidalee ban has always been a great choice against Peanut. He takes over games. His early pathing, his early farming is incredible. He's been inconsistent at times, but this is not one of those eras, right, for Peanut. He's been strong on the Nidalee. I think the Yone ban doesn't need to change here necessarily. I think what does need to change is where the priority is going to go. I'd love to see some flexibility here from KC with their first pick.
Are they willing to first pick the Yone would be my big question.
That's a question I think they're asking themselves.
I mean, Zyra was super high priority for bans. Sejuani, interestingly, is going to be the ban here. Now, Zyra is not something that I would expect KC to play, nor I think that people would want to see HLE play as much, but it is one of these pre-tournament expected power picks that we just really have not seen yet.
There's the Yone ban, so they read it really well.
But that's big because that means the Azir's been left open. And Vladi's been such a monstrous Azir. I think you snap that up immediately, no question. And I think having him in a more comfortable matchup really will go a long way for KC.
Definitely, I think the best or the strongest individual performance we've seen from him so far is that second game against TL that he played. It was on the Azir, looked really comfortable mechanically. But this is something that you assume that HLE have also anticipated. So the question is, what does Zeka want to play into this? What counter picks does he have up his sleeve? Because
he does love to play a Kali into Azir. I don't think he'll show it this early in the draft. It's one of Zeka's most iconic picks. The other pick he's known for into this is the Sylas, which obviously is Fearless ban now, so unavailable. They don't necessarily have to pick it up right here. Another pick that Peanut often goes to in situations like this that's very flexible is the Maokai. So I could see that being a pick that they do end up going towards here in this situation in the draft because it empowers a lot of other picks. And that is what he's going to go for here. So it really helps you set up objectives, zone people away, can do really well at defending dives, can be great for siege later on. The Ashe that they do end up getting here is one of the strongest AD carry picks available in terms of lane bully as well. With the Caliste gone, Varus is already Fearless banned.
It's just a strong duo because you have that engage pressure, the lockdown, but also the saplings plus Hawkshot just means the map control is amped up to 11 immediately.
it does make it so much more difficult for KC, right? We saw a lot of situations where they were able to find these creative picks, but when your enemy is able to get perfect info, it can shut a lot down. But there's the Ivern we mentioned earlier, the Sejuani already banned, the Skarner already banned. This is that pick that Yike did use to great success against TES yesterday. Can be a little bit vulnerable, though, in these situations against the sheer amount of CC that a Maokai and an Ashe can bring to the table.
But you can also build items like a Mikhail's, you know, which has so much value. Like, I feel like Targamas is so good. Engage support's probably still going to lean on that. Can build a Mikhail's himself as well, but those cleanse effects, tons of value into this team. And then, once again, I'm really glad they're going with a carry for Canna. The one thing with Ambessa, though, is into range top laners can struggle a bit, and I have no doubt Zeus will look to put the pressure on.
Okay, it's going to be Corki to come through here for Zeka. This is one of the picks that I thought he might go to here just because it's going to be one that can duel with the Azir quite well early. Pairs decently well with the Maokai as well. Could set up his rockets later on, a lot of his damage pretty successfully. There's a lot of great lockdown here for HLE to set up this 2-item spike for the Corki where the mid game is going to be quite strong. And the Ivern is also going to feel pretty squishy if you do end up losing Prio and the Corki's running around the map, going over walls and chasing you down.
I think the thing that KC have clearly indicated with this Ambessa lock-in, instead of maybe securing an AD carry of their own, is they're not worried about Caliste's pool being pinched anymore, which is something that I'm concerned about. So far, HLE are more worried about the support pairings. Braum, fantastic. With the Ivern, obviously a lot more lockup, but this Ambessa for Canna, banning away the Camille already, gets one more ban to maybe set up this topside blind pick for a bit more success. But the big question anytime you're saving or mismatching picks as we go into phase 2 is, what are they playing into this Ashe? What are they actually waiting on to lock in
that's
into
the
this
question.
matchup?
Because like the Camille ban to me doesn't feel like it's protecting the Ambessa. It's protecting an AD carry that's a big question mark for us right now. Something immobile. Would it be so bold to pick something like an Aphelios in this situation?
Like a Jinx even?
A Jinx is the other one I was thinking about because there's a lot of supports available that can empower the Jinx still. You still have Lulu, of course. You still have the Thresh, which could also work quite well with the Ivern as well as the Azir. Seraphine ban, though. I wonder what they are cooking here.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, Seraphine would work well with like the Ashe and the Maokai, like you understand the theory, but I think based on the bans, like the Braum ban, like Seraphine would be very comfortable into I guess maybe the ult being blocked, maybe that's why they thought they want to take away, but I think Delight would probably just go towards something like the Alistar. I think is such a good pick for him and it's just kind of a staple, so they'd probably take that and give, I mean, they could also just leave it till later and get pick Zeus' pick now.
Yeah, we'll see what he wants to play here into the Ambessa. Cassante, you know, one of those picks that we've seen in the past. The Gnar is one that Zeus is obviously known for. It's his debut pick, it's his iconic pick, and you can just outrange the Ambessa and kind of chip away. Feels really good with the rest of their comp too, because the Maokai can guarantee if you have your Gnar bar set up in the right position where you can get a massive Gnar into the wall. And win a team fight just outright through that. They have so much CC, so much damage as well. It's kind of a pseudo triple AD carry composition here that is relatively tanky as well. When it comes to later team fights, the Ambessa isn't going to last long, and it's Jhin ultimately that they've decided on here.
I guess just trying to match utility with utility, call back to earlier iterations of the bot lane, but it's well highlighted that the amount of setup, the amount of CC is almost overwhelming on the side of HLE, and while you do have an Ivern, you have an Azir ult, Jhin gives you a little bit more of that utility, but it feels like we're still waiting for something a bit more reliable to come through in the support department to round this composition out, or see if they want to do something a little bit different, just try a range support pick, fight a bit more bot lane. It's actually, in the end, just taking the Alistar away from Delight. Makes a lot of sense, pairs well with the Ivern. I'm nervous about it, though, because Delight is Delight. Delight Alistar hits a little different than any other Alistar in the world, and this is a champion with a notoriously bad early laning phase.
I think it's a good denial, though. You know, I think ultimately you're into the Maokai, so and the Ashe, you can block that CC and ult off yourself, but you know, I don't pair Jhin super well with Ivern, like I prefer more DPS AD carry. It does set up for this Renata pick though. I feel like it's a fantastic spot. You have engaged already in your composition. The enemy team's coming into you, can Renata ult. Renata ult has pretty high value across this enemy team, so I think Delight pretty happy with you taking away his Alistar, and he gets a favorable bot 2v2 they will be really comfortable in.
I really love Jhin when he's paired with something that dives in incredibly quickly and gets on top of the backline, something like the Ambessa they have here. But because there's so much peel with the Maokai, with the Renata, also with the Ashe arrows, the volley, the slows, everything, it's so difficult to actually guarantee that target. And like you said, Ox, I think that I'd rather see Ivern shielding on an AD carry that does high damage, an AD carry that could pop off and carry. Like we used to see Ivern in double AD carries with Tristana, for example. This just didn't really hit for me. I feel like this Jhin is super risky.
I think the big hope for me is Vladi on this Azir. I think bot and top matchup's still a bit rough, but if Vladi can carry, maybe that's the chance.
It was a tough draft in terms of the winning lanes you mentioned earlier, but all eyes on Vladi. The first pick Azir, will it pay off? That is a question on our minds as we send it over to the casters for game 2 in this series.
Thank you very much, Dracos, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the second game. I believe this is the famous blue wall that I've heard of. The KC fans showing up here to support their team, hoping that they can do what has proved impossible for every other team, including themselves, so far at the tournament, and take down HLE.
Yeah, breaking news. Hanwha Life is quite good at League of Legends, more at 11. Yeah, I much prefer HLE's draft. I think that they have winning bot side. I think they have winning top matchup. Maokai is not exactly the super invade style champ, so I don't expect a lot of pressure, but I think that it's just having winning lanes gives you a lot of agency in the game. And in terms of how they actually play fights, I don't really know if Alice is going to be enough of an engage, so I'm worried for KC. I think this is going to be a hard game to play, but you know what?
What's up?
I love being proven wrong. So,
well, one thing that I think is always fun to take a look at, and you and I were looking at this right before the game started, is checking out numbers for a champ that gets played a lot. And we were talking about Peanut's Maokai.
Yeah.
Now, globally, like for all time, his lifetime win rate on the champion is just under 85%.
55 games, 54 games all time.
Yeah, just under 85% win rate. That's crazy. Even crazier is the fact that last year, hold on, now a lot of damage on a Delight who flashes away. KC still following after the HLE support, gives him the thumbs up, keeps on walking away. They interrupted my fun stat. The fun stat was going to be that Peanut played 19 of those games last year on Maokai. Vedius, how many did he win?
18 of them.
That's That's like 90. I think that the site said 94.7%
Something like that, yeah.
win rate. So
he's pretty good at Maokai.
yeah. Peanuts pretty
I mean, maybe he isn't
ferocious
good.
here.
You don't even have to infer that he's good at Maokai. He just wins a lot on Maokai. Yeah, maybe he's bad at it, but he wins. Like, it doesn't matter.
When he picks it, it's just magic. It's just everything works out
But
perfect.
I'm quite confident you can say that he's pretty damn good at Maokai, and it is definitely one of his career all-time favorites and most successful. Now, in this pot lane matchup, Jhin might be a champion that can trade well against many champions in the laning phase. Alistar, however, is not. This champion is quite useless until, well, even level 2. I don't know if it's going to be able to do much in this matchup. And yeah, you're already seeing the consequences. This is a game, for the record, that Casey would have traditionally loved to lane swap in, but that's gone now.
I feel like any time Alistar is picked, it's yeah, they would love to lane swap right now. It's one of those champions that just always never wanted to play a fair game against its opponents, just to get away from that rough early laning that you are talking about. But hey, that's the nature of the game now. You do not want those yellow letters, lane swap detected, appearing on your screen. HLE with control over the bot lane, like we're talking about. They've got control over the top lane. Those side lane matchups both being favorable just makes things, it puts a lot of pressure on Yike. Again, I think that his performance yesterday was by far his best performance so far in the tournament. Right. Playing the Skarner, playing the Ivern, and we'll see if he can get involved and really put the pressure on early with this champ.
Because so far these early lanes are all going in favor of Hanwha Life. You can see CS advantages pretty much in every single lane. And it's just kind of the nature of how these matchups go. We already talked a little bit about the scaling. I would argue that neither side has a great engage. Maokai can control a lot of space, but really you don't necessarily need engage when you've got so much poke and range at your disposal. Targamas getting chunked very low. Yike looking for a bit of an opportunity, but it's not really going to convert into much as Hanwha Life's bottom lane. They have level 3 and Peanuts in the area.
Yeah, Peanut. Both trees showing up down here into the bottom lane. They do not want to allow their respective sides to suffer any major losses as the wave will crash into the KC Tier 1 turret. Viper and Delight with that early advantage you would expect them to have, given the matchup, like you've said, with Alistar's vulnerability to an oppressive lane like Ashe Renata, as now both junglers going to pass through the mid lane. Yike throws out the root caller there, doesn't really find anything with it. Drops off a brush for Vladi to play through, but it will be Peanut first up into the top side river here.
So Yike wants the Scuttle Crab,
yes.
and he can get it if he can get his passive down, and then he can smite. But Peanut is not going to let him get his passive down, and he's definitely not going to let him smite it. So that is, again, double Scuttle Crab for Peanut, leveraging the prio that he has in, well, every single lane. You just have to look at the mini-map, and you can see that Zeus with the push in the top lane, he's got about a wave of CS in terms of advantage in the mid lane. Zeka constantly trading with the Azir, costing him a bit of farm as well. Already about a 10 CS difference between the two mid lane. This is crazy.
Yike should just insta-smite this, I believe. Yep, takes away those Krugs right as Peanut arrives. He sees that his camp has already been denied. Zeus with the HP advantage over Canna. Narbar charging up to about 80% right now. KC needs to be aware of this if they really want to try to fight here. Instead, Yike just going to walk up, immediately give Canna a little bit of shielding, and walk right back away as Peanut will take his recall. You can see camps respawning throughout the jungle for both junglers, so this opportunity to kind of just walk around and be nuisances in the lane is at least going to have an opportunity cost now, as Yike goes back to planting those groves to make his next harvest path after.
Targamas trying to walk the wave underneath the tower. Delight doesn't really need to hold it for very long as he now looks to base. So this is where supports start getting involved on the map a little bit more. I thought that Caliste was considering a bit of a lane swap there, but it looks like he's going to return to bot side of the map as the TPs come through from both top laners. Kind of expected in a jungle matchup like this. The early game is pretty slow. Supports will see if they can either assist their laner in escorting the wave underneath the tower, or maybe a gank opportunity is available, given the level 6 available for Vladi, means that he does have the scoop. But again, it's just both compositions, very much about scaling, very much about taking their time, and I imagine this early game is going to be a slow one.
Anytime I see Corki Azir in the game, I get myself a nice
You're right.
cup of hot cocoa.
Yeah, man. Like, we've had so much Fearless recently that I haven't thought about it. But yeah, it's goddamn Corki Azir. Run from it, hide from it.
Dreaded, it arrives all the same.
Yep.
Here they are. Yeah, so, you know, get cozy, get comfy. I like the chairs that we got here at Wall Park.
It's kind of comfy.
Being able to sit down during the game is great for a Corki Azir match.
It really is. It really, really is.
Oh, all right. They'll just farm it up. They're hanging out. They're having a good time. Vladi's not having as good of a time when the Rockets connect like that, but down here in the bottom lane, Viper and Delight. Vedius, does it ever get better for Caliste and Targamas, or are we just nah?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it does.
Okay.
It's pretty much every time Targamas tries to do anything, Renata just says, no.
Okay.
So it's
Fair
very
enough.
much about farming. You need jungle involvement to make a gank happen. Yeah, so it's just kind of, how's the flight over? Do you have a nice one?
It was pretty long. I did manage to, my new strategy with long international flights is I stay up as long as humanly. I just physically exhaust myself.
That makes sense.
And then I can fall asleep. But right now, a lot of damage onto Targamas here, who's still only level 5. Tried to make the outplay flash, but Viper rears his fangs. He's ready for it, and he earns first blood for HLE.
Yeah, I mean, we said this matchup wasn't going to get any easier, and Viper just styles on Targamas, flashing over the headbutt pulverize and securing first blood. That's going to be a dragon as well. HLE already have a 1.2k gold lead, have secured every early game objective, and are just running the rift right now.
Man, oh man, this Viper Delight duo down here in bottom lane is absolutely frightening. They go in, they force the fight before Targamas ever has the opportunity to do anything with an ulti or something. He's still just barely level 5. Now Targamas here in mid wants to set up. Zeka in some danger now, gets swept to the side by Vladi. Zeka flashing away from the root caller, needs to survive the additional pressure from Yike, but Daisy is fast with the Trigger Seed shield. The slow into the knockup is there. Zeka's gonna get caught, and KC get one back.
Or at least KC are able to get on the board. Nice angle from Targamas to set up for the play. The Yike assist means that they're able to get a crucial kill onto Vladi to get him into a comfortable position so that he can potentially be the carry. Yike looking to steal away a bunch of camps.
Now, Yike does not have his smite just yet, so he cannot immediately harvest this grove. Smite will be up very shortly. Wants to stick around long enough to secure the red buff as Delight fights Daisy. All right, Yike gets away. Red buff secured. Honestly, really nice sequence there from KC.
It certainly was. Ultimately, alleviating some of that pressure was much needed. Getting Vladi into the game, closing some of that CS gap. Looks like he's going to go for the Nash's 2 start. Peanut, though, ooh, look at, this is a race right now to get to the red buff.
Okay, Peanut. Gotta be careful. The light right behind him. There is level 6 on the Renata. Only level 5 on Targamas. Not really super close either. Yike making his way over. Peanut with the smite. Secures the buff. Now the blast cone over the wall. Again, the arrow onto the Alistar, and there's no ulti to try to save him. A defensive headbutt to try to escape, but it's not gonna happen, and Peanut gets this one.
Just the level advantage that Hanwha Life have mean that Targamas is gonna lose his life once more. He had the flash available, but he couldn't react in time to the Ashe arrow. And all of a sudden, Hanwha Life gain a commanding lead with the gold advantage once more.
Zeka ready to try to trade with Vladi a little bit here, but does have to be respectful of that Azir, like you were talking about. Him getting the kill, very important earlier, gets him kind of off to the races here because KC is going to need something to play around. HLE, you can see the 2 kills already down there in the bottom lane. I guess the second one did technically go to Peanut. And up in the top side, when the camera panned up there briefly, Zeus was taken over, but here's how KC got on the board.
So Zeka, he thinks that he's pathing towards his jungler, but Targamas had snuck his way in. You can actually, during that play, see the ping on the control ward as well. So Zeka, thinking he was safe, doesn't realize the vision got denied, and he ends up getting collapsed on. But Hanwha Life are swift to respond. Okay, I mean, Targamas should have just flashed. Maybe he assessed that he wasn't going to be able to flash over that wall, and so he decided even if he did flash, he wasn't going to be able to live. 1 grub has now been secured.
Yep.
I think it's going to be difficult for KC to stop them getting 6.
Grub number 2, there we go. But Daisy is ready to approach. Looks like HLE is going to decide 5 is fine. Nope, never mind. Peanut wants to jump back in and try to fight for it, but Yike lands the smite. So at least 1 grub denied there by KC. But HLE continuing to command pretty much everything in the early game. 11.5 minutes on the clock. They're up 2,000 gold. This top lane matchup has been going about as you would expect for Canna. Zeus running the show up here in that 1v1.
I mean, domestically, Ambessa was a powerhouse. She did receive a bit of a nerf, but I would say really hasn't been as present in this tournament. But I mean, we know that KC didn't have a huge amount of a time to adapt to the patch, considering the LEC finals was 1 week prior to the first Dan tournament. And this was something domestically Canna was very confident in. And in the team fights is where you'll see a lot of its strength. I imagine in the mini-Gnar form, there are ways in which Canna can actually find good trades. But that's assuming Zeus lets him have that. As you can see, he's not always going to get those nice trades.
And this is like the best these trades are going to feel for the Ambessa, because this is where Canna has the fully completed item with Eclipse, and Zeus still has parts of a Trinity Force. Once Zeus gets the fully completed item as well, all of a sudden this becomes so much scarier than it already is, and you can see Zeus just landing all of the boulders and wallops there. Makes it so tough to deal with.
Meanwhile, on the rest of the map, second dragon spawning in 10 seconds. Canna going to go back to base, has the TP available. Zeus with a nice interrupt to delay his arrival. The Trinity Force, I imagine, has to be...
It must be close. Caliste, nice sidestep there on that arrow. Viper wanted to go fishing with it, see if they could maybe pick the KC AD carry. That pretty much guarantees you get the dragon for free, but...
Look at the positioning here, Flowers. You'll notice that in the mid lane, Hanwha Life have the push again. This is going to force Caliste to go the long way around to catch that wave. And now numbers advantage in favor of HLE.
Yike stepping back away from it. The brushes still placed down in the river. Daisy summoned up. HLE still with control over the objective. Curtain call opens up. There's no arrow to try to stop it. Redemption comes down. Peanut backing away from that one. Dragon's gonna get very low to smite range here very quickly. Peanut needs a little bit more damage. And the Drake goes the way of HLE. Targamas in the middle. Massive double knockup. First kill goes the way of KC. And HLE has to disengage. Viper and Delight looking to run away. But the root caller's ready to chase them. Viper does not want to go any closer if he can help it. Targamas about to drop low. Maybe might just die. A little bit more damage will get it done, and it's a 1-for-1 here with the supports. Viper still running. Caliste with a flash in. Viper shut down. Zeka shut down. KC! Triple kill Caliste!
A huge triple kill for Caliste means that that's a one-team fight for KC. They finally get footing in this game, and while they do lose the dragon to a very close smite fight, getting all of those killed is a massive momentum shift. You'll see how close it is. I think the smite came down early from Yike. The collapse comes through thanks to Caliste's ulti. Means that the dragon gets very low. Zeka can't really approach. You can see the smite came down early from Yike. It's then picked up, but then a nice play from Vladi. Zeka tries to arrive, but he can't really do much this early in the game. I wasn't expecting the flash from Yike, but because of the long-range follow-up from Caliste, Delight is perma-CC'd. And then Zeka and the rest of them end up getting chased down thanks to Targamas' CC. Vladi finally arrives to provide that additional bit of damage. And it's 4 kills in total for KC.
Honestly, really good performance that fight from Targamas. Jumps in, finds the double knockup that facilitates the scoop from Vladi. His presence makes sure they're able to get the last couple of kills there as well, hanging on with that unbreakable will. I felt like in the early game, he was just kind of putting up a low light reel, getting caught out, getting punished, but that fight made up for it. That was redemption for Targamas.
And I was about to highlight it, but in the MasterCard lane economy snapshot, you'll notice that gold lead in favor of Caliste, and when it drops, 4-0 for this Jhin.
That's the Jhin number.
I mean, not only is it the Jhin number, but I know that internationally, a lot of casters don't love Jhin as a champion, right? But you know when I love Jhin as a champion?
When he has 4 kills.
When he has 4 kills.
Well, that's where they're at. Honestly, that was exactly what KC needed. This game was looking so dire so early, and that fight brought it back to a playable, like, close game state.
Yeah, it certainly did. Now, when you look at the gold, obviously there are still things to be concerned about. The fact that Zeus is just that monolith in the side lane. He is that slumbering titan yet to awaken that you know you will have to deal with at some point in the game. But for the time being, he's detached, sitting in his side lane, farming away. Gold advantage still sitting in Peanut and Zeka's shoulders. The double Trinity Force spike secured.
Okay, now the important part about this Rift Herald fight is that Zeus does have a TP. His opponent does not. A lot of damage here on a Peanut, though. This could be a huge catch. Caliste, third shot, might need number 4. Delight's gonna block it. Rift Herald mostly reset. KC doing a great job here, chunking down the enemy jungler, forcing Peanut back. He'll go back into the jungle to heal up, and HLE has no more eyes on the Herald. Viper gonna step up here, look to trade with Caliste, but those trades don't feel as good as they did in lane, Vedius. That Jhin has a lot of money now as Canna goes in. After Zeus here a little bit, the trade goes his way ever so slightly.
I mean, yeah, this Jhin definitely hurts, and the range from KC is proving to be very difficult for Peanut to handle.
Yeah.
Even if the Maokai ultimate comes through, they have easy follow-up thanks to the Jhin. Targamas acting as that front line, looking to connect the stun.
Yeah, Delight and Viper moving forward. Viper going in after Caliste, needs more damage to kill the Jhin, and he takes him out. Now Targamas is going to be your next target as Yike is about to die to Peanut and Zeka at the same time. KC, they wanted a fight around this Herald, and HLE was happy to oblige. 3-0.
Just like that, HLE quell any semblance of doubt that you might have in them. Viper steps forward with nothing but confidence, as with no flash on Caliste, no barrier to mitigate the damage, Viper just runs him down. Mid is gone, top is gone. 3K is the gold advantage now for Hanwha Life as they reclaim control over game 2.
KC, they might have got the Eye of the Herald, but what did they have to lose for it? 2 turrets, 3 lives, it's so much. Let's take another look at how it happened.
And even with the level advantage, Viper knows with the attack speed that he gets from the support of Delight, means he can just run him down. He makes it look so easy. Targamas, very little that he can do to support, has the ultimate available, but he still gets defeated. And on the top side of the map, the arrival of Zeka splitting apart Vladi and Yike means that they're able to get the kill onto the jungler of KC.
Meanwhile, back in live, while we were watching the replay, Viper had found his arrows into Targamas yet again, forcing the defensive flash out of the Alistar. We talk about how KC drafted this pick despite the fact that it results in a losing lane because they need him for engage. Forcing the defensive flash on that Alistar makes any following team fight so much more difficult. It makes it so much harder to find that angle that you need, and it means that HLE are going to take Drake number 3 uncontested.
Soul Point. They have been tearing their way through these dragons, and they have such a healthy gold lead right now. The second item spike gonna come through from Zeka very soon. And, I mean, the gold differences across the board are just getting scarier and scarier.
Yeah.
Hanwha Life set their sights on the last Adder tower that needs to be knocked down.
Whoa. Canna wanted to get away, but Peanut doing a good job stopping the TP. Takes a ton of damage in the process, but not enough to bring him down. Walks over, pops the passive heal on the Krugs. Vladi and Targamas, in the meantime, going to put some pressure on the other side of the map. Zeka wants to defend. The cannon minion doing a good job tanking up the turret. KC trying to brute force this down, but they can't do it. Now back underneath the tier 2 turret here in the bottom lane, a 1-for-1. Peanut gives his life so that Viper can get another kill, and now keep pushing onto the tier 2. Targamas coming up here into the top side as Zeka moves forward and forces Vladi back. He and Yike trying to keep the pressure on, but Delight has reinforced his own mid laner, and KC will not claim that tier 2 turret. Ruinous Otacon down there in the bottom side of the map. Zeus and Viper making their way over to the pit right now. This might just be a 2-man attempt.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to stall enough on the top side. I love the aggression that we saw from Zeka because he's able to clear out the wave, stop the siege from coming through. And as a duo, they can just melt through this. Zeus is more than happy to tank it up. I stand corrected. They hesitate. They realize that the resets have come through, and there was a good chance that KC would have stuck around for an extra wave to try and secure that top tower. They wisely back away, but it's just another advantage game for HLE as they commit to the play on the bot side of the map, cross-mapping the play on the top side. A nice stun comes through onto Canna, and even though Peanut does lose his life, ultimately they get what they want, which is the bot tier 2.
Bot tier 2 results in, again, this gold lead staying at about 3,000 for the side of HLE. 7-6 in terms of kills, and now it looks like KC are the ones who want control over the Otacon pit. Zeus not around here anywhere. Targamas jumping in, immediately followed up. Delight is already down before he could do anything at all. KC are going in. The Maokai ult for the escape route for the rest of HLE. KC with a killer instinct. Jump in there and make it happen. Now they're going after the Otacon itself, but Zeus has arrived to the fight, and the Gnar bars charged. KC still trying to commit to the objective. The Scuttlecraft's taking the damage a little bit, but now KC, they're about to drop. Zeus into the middle of the fight, but he's not ready to transform just yet. The first kill into Targamas. Now the Otacon, the target for HLE. KC still hanging around, trying to see if they might be able to contest. Yike here on the front line, wants to smite fight. Viper's all alone, he's gonna be careful, but Canna's got no ulti. Zeus in the back finds the wall, he's gonna be shut down by Caliste, but Viper and Peanut are going forward. It's so many kills for Viper. There's no hope for KC, and HLE bury him in the bot lane.
The Otacon is such a dangerous place to fight, but Viper and Zeka make it look so safe. Their positioning is fantastic. They're able to sidestep everything, and KC being attacked on all sides flounder and are not able to come out on top.
Wow. Big win there for HLE after it looked like KC might have found the perfect engage to pick Delight here at the very start.
Yeah, the problem is they invest a lot of resources into shutting down Delight, which they need still to be able to get onto this double 80 carry composition. Viper's able to dish out a lot of damage similar to Zeka, and they get the ulti out from Targamas. So while he gets chipped down, he loses his life at the very start of the fight. The Mega Gnar comes through, and then KC kind of gets shepherded by Peanut on one side and Viper on the other. It gets scary how low this Otacon gets. I thought KC were going to try and commit to finish it, but they were cautious of Zeus. They lock him down, they try to get that pick, but then just look at Viper. Completely uncontested. Otacon is doing more damage to him than anyone else. Vladi goes in too late to make the play happen. And this double 80 carry comp is just monstrous when they have the front line to play around.
Scary, scary stuff. You can just tell the moment where Viper realizes there's no more threat on him, it's just all gas, no brakes. The Ashe now 5, 1, and 5. 2 items fully completed. Third one gonna complete here very soon. 4,500 gold lead for HLE. And Vedius, the Drake control that they've had this entire game is likely about to pay some dividends. 20 seconds until what will be Ocean Soul for HLE spawns.
I mean, look at the top lane. HLE doing exactly what they did in the previous game, playing the entire map. They have a strong side lane threat. Viper, he's setting up for an Ashe arrow, perhaps. Not gonna come through, but that Soul, oh, there it is.
Oh, nice shot there from Viper. Lands onto Vladi, follow up with a Maokai ulti, but blocked by Caliste. Both carries from KC far enough away that HLE can't follow up for any sort of a kill threat on them. But now KC again having to regroup. They do not want to allow this Ocean Soul to go to HLE. They don't want to allow that permanent regeneration, which will just create a nigh unplayable game state around any sort of a neutral standoff. But here comes Zeus. There's no Gnar bar though. Keep that in mind. This is huge for these team fights. If Zeus jumps in, he's just going to be tiny. HLE going after the Drake. It is secured by Viper on the Ashe. Yike having to run away, but a big engage coming out from Vladi. They've managed to take down Viper. Vladi's cutting it out. Zeus is already dead now too. HLE are scattering, and only Zeka's left alive to deal damage. Yes, the Ocean Soul went the way of the Korean team, but it looks like KC might have just found exactly what they needed. Another triple kill for Caliste, and KC are marching towards a Baron that's 5 seconds away from spawn.
A huge team fight win for KC. Vladi sets up the perfect ultimate to allow for Caliste to clean up the fight. 8-1 is the scoreline of this young AD carry, as the Baron is going to be secured for KC.
Zeka taking the opportunity to get whatever he can in the meantime. The tier 3 turret in the bottom lane is his target, but KC securing this Baron. Yes, they lost the Ocean Soul, but they are gonna get something massive in trade. Again, this is KC finding a moment where everything seems to be steadily marching away from them to rein the game back in and still have some bit of a chance.
So the TPs come through from both top laners. The Dragon gets insanely low. Delight flashes in with a crazy ultimate, but then Vladi finds the angle alongside Targamas. Canna is there as well to assist. Caliste is untouched on the backline, but crucially getting Viper right at the start of the fight as Peanut fails to flash over the wall. means that KC can easily pick apart Hanwha Life. A massive team fight win to potentially swing momentum in the favor of KC.
That's two massive team fight comebacks for KC in this game, and both of them have been the Targamas and Vladi machine. Both of these guys working together to find multi-man engages, to throw their enemies not just up into the air, but right back down into their own graves. It's been huge. It's been what's keeping KC in this game. Now, a lot of damage onto Delight. The curtain call opens. KC try to get themselves away, but now the potential punish right back onto Vladi. He's in some danger as the damage pours out, and Vladi's first to die. Zeka goes on a killing spree. There's no way out for Targamas. Unbreakable will or not. HLE, hold the line.
I know the expression has been used a lot throughout the history of esports, but man, if you give HLE a finger, they rip the whole damn arm off. A single misstep from Vladi in the mid lane, immediately all of the wind is taken out of the sails. It's Hanwha Life on the push.
Caliste has to be so careful here, but Canna doing a great job. Jumps into the wall to punish Viper and Zeka. They thought they had the angle there to kill the KC AD carry, but Canna ready, jumping into the wall with the public execution, secures the kill on Viper. He can't kill Caliste in time to get any sort of a bailout. Nicely done.
Man, that was very close. We look back at this mid lane play. Vladi and Caliste get that root down onto the support. They think that they can chunk him out. The Ashe arrow comes through, but this crucial root from Peanut, the ultimate doesn't stop Peanut from actually getting close. The ulti from Delight as well is massive, and then the arrival of Zeka into the mid lane to create the numbers advantage. I mean, Targamas is just there trying to keep his mid laner alive. Viper, though, sees the angle, he gets the slow, but the follow-up from Canna he did not expect. He flashes in thinking he can get the resurrection from Delight, but it's not quite enough damage. And now KC, I mean, what even is the state of the game right now, Flowers? Elder Dragon in 2 minutes' time with the Baron. KC are continuing the siege. The Baron power play still 2.6k in KC's favor.
Red Bull Baron power play about to run out here. Only 15 more seconds until it expires. Arrow from a long way away. Not going to get a whole lot of value out of that one. Zeus in some danger off to the side as he scraps with Canna. Targamas forced to use the Unbreakable Will now. Knocking Peanut right back into the team. HLE is going to go ahead and lose their jungler. Caliste is dominating, but Vladi is down, and they've also lost Targamas. Canna's the next target, flashing away, trying to survive, but another TP is ready to answer. Zeus is looking to cut off the escape for KC. Canna's gonna teleport to save his own life, but Zeus is in hot pursuit of Caliste. He misses the first boomerang, but he catches it on return. He doesn't want to chase any further. It's another win, just barely, for HLE, a 2-for-1 trade.
The fights are just so fast, but it feels... Oh, hang on a minute.
Zeus is going crazy here, jumping in after Caliste. The punish from Canna again, making sure that his carries are kept safe. And Zeus, the mind games against Caliste, he steps away from it, while Zeka is returning to that bottom lane that he opened up earlier to apply more pressure.
Wow, Zeus. I mean, HLE in general, I shouldn't say just Zeus, but they're always pushing the limits. Targamas goes for a bit of an engage, but then again, Hanwha Life always find these angles. Really nice Mikhails comes through from Yike to keep his frontliner safe. But like, KC don't want this fight, but Hanwha Life know that, so they keep the pressure on Viper and Zeka in a very safe position. That clump up looks very dangerous as Caliste is forced to flash away. But in these choke points, Delight's ultimate, Peanut's ultimate, Zeus' ultimate, it all comes together, making it so difficult for KC to really win out on these fights. Zeus getting very dangerously close to losing his life in exchange, but he's able to get away with the assistance of Delight.
First shot missed, second shot missed, third shot hit, fourth one missed. Zeus needing to dodge 3 out of 4 there to keep himself in a good spot. Man, Canna doing a great job playing Secret Service for these carries, protecting them, as now there's 10 seconds left for the Elder fight. This is the great equalizer, Vedius. This is
so
the buff that can change the game. If KC get this Elder, they can win this fight and win this game.
Here we go. The bot lane being pushed in by Zeus. Zeka there to catch the mid wave. He does have TP to regroup with his team. This is dropping fast.
Elder Dragon down to 8,000. HLE ready to challenge. Arrow flies out. Damage onto Targamas here at the start. He's frontlining for now. A lot of damage onto Peanut. Public execution flies in. KC's already found the first kill. But what about the objective? The Dragon secured by Yike. A massive The three-man shuffle from Vladi! KC are getting it done! They find two, and they want to get another. Viper with a sidesteps as Zeus interrupts Caliste, and Zeka flies in, but it's not enough. The Elder is making the difference. Zeus finally gets the shutdown. KC, they got the objective, but lost the fight. Only Yike still has the buff.
How did they do that? Hanwha life. They lost their jungler, they lost the Elder, and they still won the team fight. I thought Vladi's ultimate was just gonna end it all right then and there, but it still wasn't enough.
Okay, let's take another look how it starts, because Peanut just gets destroyed.
He does, he gets wiped off the map immediately. They fully commit to taking out the jungler so they can guarantee the Elder. The backline doing so much damage, Targamas knocking them away, but they're still able to get this front to back. They don't quite, because Viper gets the respawn. But Vladi's still in a position, he'd committed so much. Yike making sure that he keeps Caliste alive. Zeus in that whole fight still kept his ultimate up. And even though they get that kill onto Zeka, Zeus remaining alive means that he's able to clean up the fight.
The bailout changing a lot there.
Goodness.
As HLE back onto the map in time to claim the Baron. And now, Vedius, now we don't have anything to contest here for quite a while. Elder is still on Yike for the next 45 seconds, but another Red Bull Baron going to be secured by the side of HLE, and they'll be wearing purple for 2.5 minutes.
It felt so close, Flowers. It really did feel that KC were going to win out there.
Oh, nice jump in from Canna. Yet again, the public execution finding the target. Follow up with a deadly flourish. Zeus trying to get away here. The redemption ready to heal him up. Zeus goes mega just in time. Zeka jumping in to protect his top laner. KC don't have the damage, and they threw the kitchen sink at him. Now everybody wearing blue is stuck in the mid lane. Meanwhile, their base is being torn to shreds. HLE looking to push Nexus. It's Viper and Delight. Zeus has made the TP in as well. Vladi immediately teleporting back to try to save the game as Peanut will fall to Yike, and the pressure is not enough to end it all the way just yet.
My goodness, HLE. I can't believe that Zeus was able to survive that. The damage just wasn't quite enough. Oh my goodness, the base now in tatters. The thumbs up from Caliste. I like to think he's having a lot of fun, because I certainly am. What a crazy back and forth. We're approaching the 34-minute mark. Baron, the Red Bull Baron power play about 2.4k in their favor. We look back at this play in mid, you have to imagine the Ocean Soul doing so much work for Zeus, the redemption gonna come through as well. And it just wasn't quite enough damage. Of course, the Randuin's really helping with that extra armor. And he's able to just barely get away. Zeka then stopping all of the bases means that there's all this freedom in the base of KC for Viper to just tear their base apart. The TP eventually does come through from Vladi as he secures the tier 2 tower in bot lane. But then, of course, the Elder's still sitting on Yike, so Peanut, he overstays his welcome and he loses his life.
Yup, it's one of those things where you forget about it because you killed most of them.
Yeah.
And even though the Yike still had it, the timer was this close to running out anyway, but it still does punish Peanut.
I think we're getting another Elder, Flowers. I really think we're getting another Elder.
It looks like we might. I mean, you still do have to weather this push from
okay,
HLE if you're KC. There's a lot happening right now. Still 30 seconds left on the Baron. HLE on the push again. Delight with a defensive flash. Viper with a nice sidestep. Curtain call opens up. Viper eats the first shot, but now a redemption ready to heal up the HLE health bars. Fourth shot makes its way onto Delight. HLE are about to have double super minions in every single lane. Even if the game does not end here, it is a painful defense now for KC. One Nexus turret remaining, but that's it as KC scrambles their defense. The Baron about to run out here pretty soon as HLE keep the push going. Peanut's gonna lead the charge. A lot of damage on the Targamas at the very start with Renata ulti over the top. KC though, doing a great job staying alive. Health bars still topped off. This defensive battery of the Ivern, the shields, the healing is keeping everybody healthy, and KC hold on.
The Chaos Crucible was very valuable there from Yike because Caliste was going berserk and he could have done some serious damage to his own teammates. We've seen these Renata ultimates do some serious damage. Viper, though, he's locked onto his target. Canna.
The arrow fires, Canna gets caught, trying to flash away, but Peanut is ready here for the twisted advance to follow it up. Canna wants a defensive public execution. He survives, but that is flash, that is ulti from the top laner of KC. There are double super minions in every single lane, and the Elder Dragon spawns in 30 seconds.
KC haven't given up just yet, but their base is in tatters, and Hanwha Life refuse to give them a moment's breathing room. The waves continue to siege, the double supers are relentless. The thumbs up from Caliste, trying to keep the mood positive, as Viper acts as a wall that KC have to break through.
Targamas with a very early unbreakable will. He goes in. He catches Viper. The carry from HLE is dead. Caliste with the kill. And at the darkest hour, KC continue to hold their heads high.
The base, it's just too broken. They need the inhibitor turrets to respawn. I mean, they still have one, of course. The second on its way soon. But the fact that Zeus can just constantly be this point of pressure is a terrifying thing for them to deal with. The inhibitor cooldowns, you can see them at the top left of your screen. 45 seconds away on this top one. KC, I don't know if they can start this.
There is a TP available for Zeus. KC are saying, all right, we're going for it. They're going to begin the Elder. Vladi and Canna both with a TP available. Vladi, a lot of damage here on Zeus, forces the Syrinx out of them there. Delight and Peanut trying to make the fight happen. Delight uses the ulti there from Renata, doesn't get a lot of value out of it. KC will earn themselves an Elder Drake as Delight now trying to retreat down the bottom side, should be caught. I don't see any way for Renata to get away from this. Targamas is first to the scene, and with Caliste nearby, it's another pop. Watch him drop Caliste. 14-2.
Now with the Elder, that makes it way harder for Hanwha Life to actually siege onto the base. Of course, the Baron spawning in 10 seconds is going to be a point of concern, but Targamas, my man, finds the angle onto Viper. Commits the ultimate so early. Viper even had the flash, but he wasn't able to react to that. And taking out a crucial carry was enough to secure the Elder. I cannot believe the way that this game has gone. KC looking to bring us to game 3, Flowers. They've been able to escape the base for now. The Baron is alive, and KC have set their sights on it.
KC looking to take this down before Delight is back. The base regenerating like you're talking about. One inhibitor already back. KC taking the blast cone, trying to stop this. Make it so there's no opportunity for HLE to come in and contest, but Peanut's ready to go. Arrow flies in. Baron and Elder at the same time for KC. They'll have the Elder for the next minute and 15. They'll have the Baron to endure the rest of the pressure here from the super minions. You can see about 1 minute left for the middle and bottom lanes. If nothing else, this is going to give KC the opportunity to return the game to a state where they can step outside their base. And Vedius, this is the furthest we have seen any team push HLE so far at first stand.
It's crazy. KC, the glow up is huge. Of course, they still have a long way to go to end this game, but how long have they got left on the Elder? Hard for me to gauge right now. Oh no, they've got top right, 35 seconds left. Caliste.
Okay, keep your eyes on Caliste, keep your eyes on Canna. The public executions have hit the target so many times this game. Zeus, critically, the Gnar transformation already happening before he can get his recall. KC, they want to use the Elder and try to find something crazy right now. Daisy underneath the turrets, here for the Nexus. She's going to go ahead and die immediately. KC, still on their push. Baron enchanted minions. Nice handshake there into Vladi, but he jumps back away. Curtain call firing off. They want to try to use this to secure a kill there with the Elder, but the execution isn't going to happen. Zeus coming in from behind, but the Gnar has no bar. Zeus needs to be careful about this one as he gets rooted up. Public execution right back on top of him. Zeus is dead. KC with a 5v4 in the enemy base. Viper loses half HP. The Elder no longer active, but the Baron still got 90 seconds. HLE are now the ones missing a Nexus turret.
KC have the Nexus of Hanwha Life in their sights. The TP is going to come through. They've got another minion wave. The Elder may have fallen off, but they have 5 members.
HLE have to defend 4 versus 5. Targamas with a Hex Flash, not going to find the angle here for the headbutt pull. Zeka, half HP, beats the death of Peanut, thanks to Caliste, as Viper stays alive for an extra second, but the man needs a bailout. It's not going to be in time. KC stand tall, but they have not done it just yet. A triple kill back over to Zeka. Caliste versus Zeka. The bullets in the air. KC have done it. Gods can bleed, and KC take us to game 3.
Unbelievable! 3 inhibitors down. Only a single Nexus turret, but they were able to stand their ground and fight their way back. KC is not dead yet.
The best game at first stand so far. No